back. We are back to working on the 240. It has been very cold here, so the motivation level has been not exactly the highest to be out in the garage and working on this thing, but I'm excited to keep bringing content to you guys. So yeah, we left it off with needing the reassembly, all the vinyl's done, and that is what we're gonna do tonight. So I'm gonna show you guys how to put the headlight buckets back on, the lower air dam, etc., and we'll see where we end up. Hey guys, just wanted to show you kind of how these attach. There's just 3 studs as you guys saw before, but wanted to kind of get in behind here and show you guys what's up. So obviously right there you got one, right there, and right there. Key to those is make sure that you're always using locking nuts on stuff like that. So a locking nut and a washer. Another pro tip, have a little kit of hardware on hand at all times so that you can put stuff like this together. It's pretty simple. Just put it on. You'll see I got the top one on there already. And zoom in there. Just like that. Pretty simple. Make sure they're nice and snug, or in some cases you might leave one of them just slightly loose, which is a nice part about the nylock, because for alignment you might need a little bit more one way or another, so you might have one kind of torqued down a little bit more than the other, but that's essentially that. And then these lights, I threw them on quickly just to get pictures, but these actually need to be brought through. So I did that on the other side already, and essentially this comes up through the hole. I'll take these off, bring that through the hole, put everything back on, and then we're good to go. And then once the headlight buckets or sugar scoops are on, we can go ahead and put the lower air dam on. So that'll be next. Hey guys, back to working on the Z again. I got a little bit of bad news. I did a whole bunch of work, well, a little bit of work. I filmed it all, and then I accidentally deleted the footage. So, rookie move, I know. So unfortunately, I'm just gonna have to run you guys through what I did in this last little bit, because I got like one clip that I could salvage, and I emptied the recycle bin and everything on my computer, so my bad. Hopefully it won't happen again, but anyways, I wanna run you through this lower air dam because there's some cool stuff with the vinyl that's just the way it goes on. So, and well, the fact that it is vinyl, because before I was talking about painting it. So let's flip this camera around and show you guys what's up. So originally this air dam it's just urethane, and then it was painted black, and had some chips and little rock chips and some shit in it. And I was just gonna rattle can it black again and slap it on, call it a day. But after kind of looking at it and sanding a bit of it, I realized that I probably wasn't gonna be able to make the paint look very good. So I decided to wrap it. So that was kind of where we're at. We had, probably last you guys seen, we had just put the headlight buckets on, and then getting ready to do this wrap. Ended up hitting the grill with a quick, a little bit of vinyl I gotta trim off there, but ended up hitting the grill with a quick spray of black. And then the vinyl, I did a few different inlays. I'm not super happy with the vinyl because it's a really hard piece to wrap, but it is what it is. I laid a piece in here all the way to there, piece in here all the way to there. I laid a piece in behind the signal light here, and then I laid a piece along this top edge as well. So that was kind of all my inlays, and obviously did the same thing on this piece, and then little end caps, and then I laid the main piece. So I did split it in the middle. There is a V here. It was just easier to do that way, and essentially I laid this, and I went along and laid all of it till I got to about here, and then I sliced this with a knife right along there so that I could tuck this, and then I came along and essentially I just laid this all in one piece all the way up to the top. So it did end up turning out, still dirty, it did end up turning out really good. Like I think as far as how it looks on the car is a hell of a lot better than black, right? But yeah, it ended up being quite a bit more work than I was originally anticipating. But yeah, and then I swapped some lenses over. These are nicer condition signal light lenses I had from another car. So I slapped those in. So that's really all you guys missed, was the lower air dam, the painting of the grill, slap it on the signals. Essentially, this is just gonna sit right there, and we're gonna wrap these in gloss black. So yeah, pretty stoked on this. Just gonna get that one going. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this update. So I'm still gonna upload the footage that I did have. There'll be a slight gap in the video. I'll do a little screen or something, but anyway, or you guys would have saw that already. So anyways, back at her. Alright guys, just want to show you quickly the brackets that are made up. I essentially just drilled a hole in this side that's going to mount to the bumper, and a bit of a slotted hole in this side that's going to mount to the car. It's going to mount kind of like that. You guys see that? And I just put it in the vise to give it the slight bend. Just put it in, gave it a couple hammers, and it's good. And then to show you guys over on the bumper here, essentially it's going to sit like that. So I don't know if I got this this bend perfectly to what it needs to be, but if I take it out a few times and tweak it to get it where we need to, we should be good. And then for the outer ones, I just threw a bolt in with a nut, just a nut to hold it for now, and kind of fill a bit of space, because there's a bit of a gap bolt like that to the car, and that goes in right here. So that one goes in here, the other one goes right through this bolt, and then yeah, we should pretty much be good to go. Should have a bungee hanging there to hold the bumper for now, but let's see how it fits. And once we get it fitting right and the brackets in place, we can take it off, wrap it. So, all right guys, so I'm pretty happy with this overall. I mean, it's not sitting exactly where it's gonna sit. It'll kind of sit like that. This has got to kind of come down and get moved a little bit more, but all the brackets have enough like adjustment and movement within them to get it sitting where I want it. So it'll just be a little bit of tweak in each direction. I'm gonna get up here and see. I'm gonna flip this camera out, see if you guys can see kind of how it's working. I don't know. I might not be able to show it. You can kind of see the bracket there. Yeah, maybe this ain't gonna work how I wanted, but essentially there's enough slide. This bracket can slide back and forth enough. I think what's gonna make it a lot easier is if I put this bolt through the bracket first, and then I really just gotta line it up with a hole, and then we can just go along and measure the bumper left to right, up and down, kind of tweak it. So, but I mean, if I'm gonna go with all that work, I wanna have it wrapped and leave it on. But yeah, overall, much better, much cleaner than the OEM bumpers with the rubber and the bump rats and, you know, the big ugly chrome stuff. So these will be nice and black, nice and lightweight, and they just look a little sleeker. So before I paint all these and get this all done, I'm gonna build the brackets for the back bumper and get them all done. Then I can paint all the brackets together so we don't have any bare metal, and then we can lay the vinyl, and then we can install them and move on to the next thing. So. Alright guys, I'm going to show you how we make one of the bumper brackets here. This is for the rear. So this is kind of what I made, and it might look crude, but if you know what the OEM bumper mounts look like, they're literally just a piece of steel like this. Keep in mind they're holding a substantially heavier bumper, so they actually go like this and kind of come out again. This is a fiberglass bumper. It's ultra light. This 4mm thick is already super overkill for holding up a fiberglass bumper. So I'm not going to go and build a big thing like this. A little bit harder to bend and stuff too. So essentially this is going to mount to the bumper, and then there's going to be two holes here that mount to the car. So it's just held up on one side, which is more than fine. So essentially what I did is I just kind of free bent this one until I came up with what worked good on the car. And now to match that, what we're actually going to end up doing is I just put this in here to kind of match the height. So I've drilled the two holes in this one. And essentially I just want to match the height of this one so I get the same bend profile. So if you just kind of drop it in there until they line up. Once they line up, remove it. And then make sure it's straight first. Double check your work. Oops. Make sure that that looks about right. And essentially then we're just going to bend this over. That's straight. Take a look at that. Looks pretty good, good enough anyways. So now we've got that bend, so now we obviously need to replicate this bend. And in order to do that, I'm just going to mark it with a Sharpie. Just roughly. So I know where to do that bend, and we can pull this out. And we can switch to this. Which I'm going to have to go this way just because I got a little bit more room on my vise. So look for that black mark now. Don't pinch your fingers. Give it nice and tight. And best thing to do is double check which way you got to make that bend. So if we go, that means the bend needs to go that way. Nice and, oh, not loose, nice and tight. And double check, yep, boom, bend that way. Alright, now we have two matching bumper brackets, and I will need to drill another hole in here, but I don't know the exact positioning right now. I don't even know if this one's right. I might need to oval these out or whatever. Once again, they're just for holding. Alright guys, threw some paint on these units last night, and just gonna get ready to put them on the car today, but I gotta unload some stuff from my truck, so I thought throw these quickly. A little pro tip, grab yourself a nice little toaster oven off of Craigslist or Facebook or whatever. I think I got this for like 20 bucks. And yeah, make your parts just dry a little quicker and also last a little bit longer. The paint will be a bit better once you've got them up to temp. So yeah, throw that in, and we're gonna put them on for 20 minutes at 350, and we're good to go. Fresh out the oven. Alright guys, just going to run you through how I got the brackets on here, because we're going to mount this up. So as you can see, it's just bolted to the factory location. We're just going to one bolt hole as I stated before, and this essentially is going to go on here, and that bracket is going to go to that bolt right there. So this bracket, that bolt. And yeah, we'll just pass it through, and once we get everything loosely fitted, always loose fit all your bolts first, especially on something that needs alignment, and then slowly snug them all down. And we'll use the bungee to hold it in the meantime. Slowly snug them all down and then kind of tweak it into place. And give you guys a little sneak peek here. I already got the rear done, as you can see there. And I'll go over after how it's all mounted when I do the front one as well, but that's that. Alright guys, I'm gonna pan you around to here. So putting that on, I noticed that the brackets for the bumper aren't quite bent in enough. By the time this is hitting the car, the bumper's touching the car, so I gotta bend these a little more, and if possible, I don't think I'll be able to, but it would be nice to kind of tweak them a bit this way. So I'm just gonna take these off. And try to do a little tweaking. Put more of an angle into them. You guys over here. Put more of an angle into them, and try not to take too much paint off here. Don't want to overdo it. Be nice to be able to, it's like this, let's try this. Yeah, that's what I figured. Not quite gonna get a nice curve. Let's grab the other one, make sure that it's the same. Alright, so gotta bend this one some more. It's probably about all I needed. Best way, just put them both in the vise at the same spot. There we go. You can see how far. There we go. We'll give that a try. I'll show you guys what I did also for hardware on these. Excuse the tripod banging around. On the big hole, which goes like this, I just put a bolt, but I think I'm gonna go with a little bit longer bolt, because this one, by the time it has to go through the lip and the headlight bucket, or by lip I mean air dam. So we're gonna go with maybe, it's not much longer, we're gonna go with maybe something like this. And I put a fender washer on there, it's like a 5/16 or whatever metric equivalent. Fender washer on, and then regular washer, and then just a standard nut. And this is just my probably blocking the camera today. So bolt, fender washer, small washer, and then I just realized this nut's not gonna work because I need it to bottom out. So we're gonna have to go with the one shorter bolt. This guy. All right, I think we got this now. The reason we need it all threaded is so that we can bottom out this nut, because this is kind of what holds in that bracket and gives you that little bit of sliding. Well, when it's a little bit looser, it gives you that little bit of movement. So up, down a bit, side to side a bit, like that, kind of all over, and that's how you can get a nice fit on the bumper. Let's do that on this one. So if this goes on this way, this one goes on this way. Once again, we got that, all that adjustment. Let's give this round two. Alright guys, I had to put another little bend in the bumper brackets, and then I hammered them so much that I needed to throw some paint on them. So I just got them baking right now to get the paint to dry quicker. In the meantime, we're going to put the drip rail trim on. I had a good friend inform me that I picked these rails off because the ones that were on here aren't in very good shape. That in the later years they started to put clips in them, and he wasn't sure why, but the original, like I'd say 240Zs had no clips. And then maybe later on, maybe sometime 260, 280, maybe somebody in the comments section will know. But because this was a 240, the ones I took off, I know didn't have clips. I'm gonna remove these clips. They just slide back and forth. So I'm just gonna pop each one of these clips out, and we're just gonna put them on with just like what's built into the metal. And these ones are in good shape, thankfully. I mean, they could use a polish, but I can do that after they're on the car. So this side, obviously right here. And sometimes you gotta watch. There's too much body filler, etc. in here, you'll lose this lip. And if you don't have this lip, it's not gonna be able to grab onto anything. So I think it's okay. Sorry, I think it's okay on mine. I am a little lower here than I'd like to be, but yeah, we're gonna try to put these on anyway. So let me grab a rubber mallet. So you should start right here on this corner and just do an alignment check to make sure that you're not too far in either direction. I think right about there. And they're pretty easy, you just give them a little, you don't want to go too much here because you can bend them. Not quite wanting to go. You can see it kind of pop on there, but it comes kind of right off. Try not to scratch the vinyl here. Seemed like it was going, but there we go. Guys, this is what you want to see as it's going on. You want it to, it should kind of almost be touching the roof and covering all the spot welds and everything that's underneath here. So hopefully the camera's focusing, you guys can see that. Then you can kind of see where it's off still here, as you can see. So kind of want to make sure that that's all in the right spot. Probably what's a good idea is if I make sure that this is going to line up first too. I just wanted to get a little bit more of this on so I wasn't popping this back off. Flare this out too much, but kind of tap on the bottom to keep Unfortunately got a little flare there I'm gonna have to fix, or it's just not going on. There we go. Alright guys, so I will say definitely you got to get it past that clipping point. I did bend this a tiny bit. I can fix that though, but the rest of it went on actually really nice. So, and that's with some filler and some vinyl and all that. So keep in mind, you know, the guy, the friend that gave me these made a very valid point. These cars only had single stage paint from the factory, so very thin. Not like a thick clear coat like modern cars, etc. So they weren't meant to have that much, and they were just a force or friction fit on. So let's try to clean up that little bit I flared. We're just gonna give it a couple very light taps. If I can use something that won't damage the vinyl. I just hit the vinyl there. There we go. Kind of got a little bit of it. Yeah, that's pretty good. You can probably see there's a little bit of a dent from where I pushed on it, but it's probably about as good as I'll get. I don't want to mess with this stuff too much, and then I end up having to clean up later. It's a bit of paint I got to remove off the bottom of this, but when I detail the whole car before I go through that, I'll get rid of all of that. So just ever so slight taps is all it's required to give it a little tweak back into place. There we go. So that's one on. Let's go do the other side. Well, I thought I'd show you guys something funny and something, I mean, I guess makes sense, but I didn't even really think about or know. I got this one lined up on the corner, hammered in. What's this? It's way too long. It's supposed to stop right here. So obviously this trim piece is for a 2+2, which is the car with the back seat. Because the front is lined up here, or by the time it goes down, it'll be perfectly lined up. It's pretty easy to get the alignment right because if you start here, which is where you're supposed to start. So anyways, I got to get a different one of those because as you can see, it's supposed to terminate like this. So anyways, the bumper brackets are done, so let's get back to that. Well guys, that ended up being quite a bit more of a challenge than I thought to get that front bumper on and just get everything lined up. It's going through so many layers, but there it is. I think the thin fiberglass bumpers look really nice on this car. Like I think they look better than the OEMs, and it's essentially just held on with one bolt through there and one right there on those brackets we built. You can kind of just maybe see the corner of the bracket there. And then I wanted to show you guys the rear as well. And that'll wrap up this video. So there's the rear, and then I wanted to kind of show you guys a little bit of how the bracket holds on there. So there's the bracket we built with straight out, and then this way links to the bumper. It's nice and solid. And I did throw a little paint on the exhaust tip as well. I'm not really a fan of that tip, but just to bring the exhaust out past the fiberglass so that we're not burning it. Just hit it with the black, and yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. After this, it'll be door handles, and I gotta still tighten that door handle down, and reassembly of the interior pretty much. So I'd say other than I got a couple emblems that I gotta buy some barrel clips for, and I gotta polish up and clean up a few spots of vinyl that are scratched. The outside is for the most part pretty good. So anyways, yeah guys, that's a wrap for this video. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for hopefully next video we get this thing on the ground and see how it's looking. So adios.